I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
Till now, the story of Watergate stood unchallenged.
There's been a lot of revisionist work done by scholars since then. People like Jeff Shepard have gone and gotten the records of the Watergate special prosecutor.
They all have a power that nobody can stop to help bring down the president.
All right, that was a clip from the trailer of an explosive new documentary called Watergate's Secrets and Betrayals. The documentary unveils never-before-heard stories taking place behind the scenes of America's most infamous political scandal. And its release comes on the 50-year anniversary of President Richard Nixon resigning from office. If you're of a certain age, you'll remember the Nixon era, when it was actually shocking to talk about impeaching the president. That was before Clinton, Trump, and the Biden administrations made terms like special counsel, indictment, and constitutional crisis so overused that they're now like old coins passed around so many times their faces have worn off. Watergate inaugurated our modern age of impeachment and the cynicism that went with it. And unlike the scandals that followed it, Nixon's actually drove him from office. But that took some doing, and in this new documentary, they take a close and hard look at the judges and the prosecutors who, from the documentary's perspective, orchestrated a conspiracy to unseat a popularly elected president. In other words, the film sets out to flip the script on the traditional narrative of the whole affair. So, are they just trying to whitewash Watergate? Or is there a point? Joining us now are George Bugatti, the director of Watergate's Secrets and Betrayals, and John O'Hurley, the narrator of the film. And yes, you know that face. John is the actor who became Seinfeld loyalty, playing the lovingly ridiculous and painfully pretentious J. Peterman for years. He's also a Hollywood conservative, and you've got a better chance of spotting Bigfoot in California than one of those. Gentlemen, great to have you both. John.
Thank you.
Why do this documentary? I think most people feel like they know all about Watergate. What were you hoping to teach people?
That's what an interesting way to present that, because I grew up in that period of the 70s, or 70s, 73, when this entire thing was going down, and it was presented to us in a neatly little wrapped package that indeed our president had an opportunity to be impeached or indicted, and that was it. And he chose a third opportunity, which was to resign. He never got his day in court. And when you say a popularly elected president, 49 states went his way. We haven't seen that kind of a landslide in modern presidential history. But when all of this went down, and I'm not saying that was ever his best day in his life, but he never got an opportunity to present his case. And a lot would have changed in history had all of the things that Ron Jaworski, the special prosecutor who actually wrote down all of his meetings, his private meetings and ultimately illegal meetings, that would have all changed the presence of the presentation of the case had it ever gone to trial.
George, it all seems, I mean, you know, we've got the Watergate tapes, we've got, you know, the sources and all the Washington Post reporting. I mean, are you making the argument here that he shouldn't have been impeached, that he shouldn't have resigned, that he didn't do anything wrong? I can't imagine you are. Are you?
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
Well, that's the second movie.
Okay.
What we're doing is we're showing these secret documents that have been in our national archives. It's the secret. It's the prosecutorial and judicial misconduct that you talked about. And these documents, we've got at least a dozen of them that show that. I've got one of them right here. I'm just going to read this to you quickly. It says, this is from Leon Jaworski. This is the second special prosecutor in the Watergate cover-up trial. On Monday, February 11th, I met with the judge, at which time several matters were covered as we sat alone in the jury room. As we sat alone in the jury room. That's called an ex parte meeting. That means that the defense counsel was unaware of what was going on. I mean, this stuff is incredible. These people are all in heaven or wherever they are right now. But, you know, that's what we're showing in my movie is the WatergateSecrets.com. People can see this, the documents.
Do you think Nixon would have beaten this had this gone to trial?
what we're trying to show is that if this information that we know now was available then,
Yeah.
at least he would have had his chance in court.
Well,
at least he would have had a chance that everyone has, you and I, a chance to present our case.
You know, it's so funny how much of this is, I mean, you know, in the intro to you, the parallels between then and now. Take a quick listen to this one quick clip from Richard Nixon talking about what a president can do.
People have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
And there's the president waving goodbye, and you hear the applause.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
It's that last one. When the president does it, it's not illegal because he's the president. And we're hearing that same argument, aren't we, today from Donald Trump?
Is that for me?
Either one.
You know, I didn't bother myself with the topical things. I didn't draw the parallels with Trump. All I did was, I don't know, crimes are committed in Watergate. You know, we're not saying that someone was innocent or someone was guilty. What these documents show is that our rights were not, the president's rights, the top administration, the rights were usurped. It's about due process.
Okay.
And that's what we're showing.
John O'Hurley, I don't know how they lassoed you into this, but I think it's super cool, and it'll probably get more people to... Yeah.
Fascinated by history. And I would like to have this as one of the layers, actual layers of that entire history of Watergate, because it does deserve its time in our jurisprudence.
It does.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.